I'm going to give you 3 reasons why you should always use a VPN on the Amazon Firestick. And firstly, this is not a scaremongering video. I just want you guys to understand why you should want to use a VPN, not why you need to use one. There's a lot going on in the Amazon Firestick scene at the minute. There's blocks happening left, right and centre. There's takedowns going on across the world. And a lot of people don't understand what actually goes on in the back end stuff of things like using free movies apps or free live TV apps or even IPTV. So I'm going to give you 3 reasons why you should always use a VPN on the Amazon Firestick. I'm going to give you a cracking deal if you want it, and stay tuned because I'm going to give you some insight into the back end of how an IPTV service works, what is collected and who is collecting it, more importantly. Anyway, you know what to do. Whilst you're watching this video, please hit that subscribe button. It takes 2 seconds and it costs nothing, and it does the world of good for me. Okay, first of all, reason 1. One of the many benefits to using a VPN is bypassing ISP blocks, and that includes throttling as well. Depending on who your ISP is, especially at peak times, the majority of services will have something in their terms of service where they will reduce your speed, throttle your speed, even cap your bandwidth during peak times. They do this to stabilize the network and try and make it fair for everyone, because as you can tell, everyone that's coming home at 5 o'clock all jump on the broadband wagon. You know what it's like when the kids are home and you're home from work, you're getting settled, you're putting the TV on, you're checking Facebook, it goes nuts. And this is the ISP's way of managing that traffic and stabilizing the network. So sometimes when you're buffering on your Amazon Firestick, it's not actually because of your device or the app you're using. A lot of the time it is down to your ISP and the speed you're getting. Now yes, the speed test might show you're getting X speed, but the throttling could be going on in the background and you don't even know about it. So using a VPN will bypass that ISP throttling and ultimately help you reduce buffering. And also, as a bonus point, whilst we're talking about ISPs, instead of putting it in a point number 2, we're going to add it to this one, and that's to stop your ISP seeing what you're doing. Now yes, they're not monitoring your data real time, but when you use the internet, regardless of what device you're using, packets of data are sent across your network, and your ISP can see exactly what them packets are. So whilst yes, they're not spying into your telly and watching the program with you, what they can see is watching a movie or a TV show or some file of movie. And often if you're using dodgy apps, this will be in form of an M3U file, and they'll be able to see the packets of data that are being sent to and from whatever DNS or server these apps or IPTV apps are using. You don't need to be a mathematician or a genius to know that 2 and 2 equals 4. A lot of these services and apps, their server stuff are freely available. ISPs already know which websites are offering illegal content. How do you think they block IPTV during peak times or Saturdays? You'll be surprised how much they already know. But yeah, they won't be able to see what you're watching because your connection will be encrypted, which also means that if anything ever changes where fines are issued for doing things you shouldn't be, you will be safe because they will have no idea what you're doing. They will see that you're using a VPN, but that's as far as it goes. They won't be able to see the endpoint or what you're doing on it. Number 2, geo-unblocking more content. For those of us in the UK, you can unblock more content. In US, for example, you can just connect to an American server, and then using different apps, you can unblock more content. So you can gain access to the likes of American content here in the UK, and vice versa. You can get UK content somewhere else. There's a lot of apps that support a VPN. For instance, sport events and stuff, it's really good because you can get cheaper packages. If you connect to Germany for DAZN, you can get that cheaper as well, cheap boxing. So there's loads of benefits to unblocking more content or getting even cheaper content, and that's why a lot of streamers always use a VPN. Right, number 3, the main one, using illegal apps. If you're watching content that you shouldn't be on, apps you shouldn't be using, if you don't know, in the UK it is illegal to not only distribute copyrighted content, it's actually illegal to access it. And a lot of people don't understand or realize this, that by using any type of app, technically you are breaking the law. And the amount of times I've been called a snitch for doing videos like this. Listen, I'll be honest with you. I honestly and personally believe that so many streamers out there are so uneducated with stuff like this, even understanding that it's illegal. A lot of people don't even know that. And here in the UK, it's very different to the US. The US have always said, oh, there's a grey area. The UK law is what it is. You don't need to be a snitch to understand what is illegal and what isn't. If you're selling little packets of something, everyone knows that you shouldn't be, that's illegal. But it's the same with Firesticks, and a lot of people don't understand that actually accessing a movie or a show is illegal. So you are breaking the law whilst you're doing this. And that is why a lot of people will use a VPN, because that will hide your activity. So for instance, anyone that's using an IPTV service, not only their ISP will be able to see what they're doing, but the actual seller themselves who's selling you the IPTV service, they have a back catalogue of so much data that you don't even know they collect. Now, to have an IPTV service, the seller will have an IPTV panel. That's where they make the accounts for users on the IPTV service. Now, on that panel, once they've given you your username and password, every time you use that IPTV service, every time you open that app or you change your channel or you're watching sports, they have everything. That seller has a huge catalogue of information and data about you, your family, and your activity. And that is worrying. It's called server logs, access server logs. Everything is logged on a server. Everything. What type of device you log into the service from, whether it's a phone, whether it's a Fire Stick, the MAC address of that device, how long you've been watching it for, what you was watching, when you signed on, when you changed channel, when you turned it off, everything is being collected. And I don't think a lot of people understand how serious this is when it comes to personal information being stored, because as we know, IPTV services are being tracked down. They're being shut down left, right and centre. The servers are all being handed over to the police. It's being used as part of the investigation. Once that happens, any authority that seizes that stuff has your information on it. Not only your information, every single thing you're doing with it. And I think this needs more exposure, because so many people have no idea what goes on the back end of an IPTV service. It's actually quite worrying. And I'm going to do a video on this, so make sure you subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to go really in depth of everything that's going on here and why it's important to have that VPN. So again, if you're not using a VPN, your information is being logged on their websites, on their servers. Just stop it happening, guys. Just use a VPN. It costs $50 for 2 years. That is next to nothing for what you get in terms of value for money. You get 2 years of protection, anonymity, reduced buffering, more content. There's so many more benefits. Even outside of the Fire Stick, you can get cheaper flights, cheaper hotels. You can stop hackers on public Wi-Fi networks. It just makes sense. It's $50. And for anyone that says, oh, you could just use a free VPN, do not use a free VPN. They are terrible. They are data collectors. They sell your data. They bombard you with ads, and they use the most dog shit servers. They are so slow. Just avoid them. It's $50. It's about 45 quid. And with my link, it's 83% off. So again, it's in the video description. And you also get 10 gig of data on a free eSIM. Why not? So yeah, that's a bit of the background info that I mentioned at the start of the video. It's actually crazy that people don't understand what is being collected and who by. And again, like I said, it's not about scaremongering. It's about me giving you the information and the education around what's going on to get you guys to want to get a VPN, not trying to force it down your neck, because we live in a data collection world. And you know what? There's so much data that's being collected, even on the Amazon Fire Stick, which is crazy. And that's what I want to cover in a video. So I'm going to go really in depth with that one. I'm going to try and do it as a documentary style later on down the line, but it is coming. So again, make sure you hit that subscribe button. But yeah, there's so much going on with the Fire Stick scenes now. Amazon are blocking apps left, right and center. You can't sideload on the new Amazon Fire Stick. Jailbreak's over. There's loads going on. I've covered loads already on the channel. I'm going to link up some cards here and I'll stick it as a video towards the outro. So go and watch that when you're done. If you've got any questions, pop it in the comments and I get round to answering it soon. But that Black Friday deal is ending. So get that 83% off while you can. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one.